Hello everyone, Mike the Warrior here. Today we're back with another 5 Facts video, and this time we are focusing on the one and only Shun Kazami. The original one, not from the reboot. Shun is easily one of my favorite characters out of the entire franchise, so I had a lot of fun making this, so without further ado, let's get started. After his mother passed away, Shun lived with his grandfather to become a ninja. I know, just hold on a second. While this is something that his grandfather always wanted, this was also an attempt to keep him away from playing Bakugan as it was taking up a lot of his time. Because when the game first started, he, alongside Dan and a couple of other kids, were the ones who actually made up a lot of the rules to create the game of Bakugan. His grandfather didn't have to try that hard, though, because his mother had a really big effect on him when she passed away. As a result of this, once he started his training, he distanced himself from all of his friends. And by doing so, he stopped playing Bakugan altogether. That was until Runo and Marucho both snuck into his house to ask for his help, forcing him to play Bakugan again, because the deal they had was that they had to beat him in a battle. It did not go well. Shun is the second oldest member out of the entire group, the first being Alice. He is 13 when the show first starts. In the second season, New Vestroia, he is 16 after the time skip. He is 17 in Gundalian Invaders. In Mactanium Surge Part 1, he's 18, and in Part 2, he's 19. Shun has the second most Guardian Bakugan out of everyone in the entire cast, the first one being Marucho. Again, if you count Wise Man, then technically he's the third. In the first season, he has his most popular partner, Skyrus, who eventually evolves into Storm Skyrus. This Bakugan was given to him by his mother right before she died, so there's a really big emotional connection between the two. New Vestroia, we have Ingram, who later evolves into Master Ingram. Then we have Hawkdoor and Gundalian Invaders. In Mactanium Surge Part 1, we have Talion, and in Part 2, we have Jackdaw, Skytris, and Orbium. Despite being Ventus, Skyrus is actually supposed to be a phoenix. You could argue that this is possibly due to symbolize Shun's rebirth after he picks himself up following his mother's death, or you could take it as the relationship he had with his mother is being reborn through the relationship with him and Skyrus, which is probably why she ultimately wants him to move on towards New Vestroia for better or worse. Speaking of, Ingram and Hawkdoor are both Bakugan that also are based off of birds of some kind. However, unlike Skyrus, they also resemble ninjas in some way, shape, or form based off of their designs and how they fight. And later on, the bird aspect of his Bakugan is completely removed and we just get ninjas. Could technically symbolize that Shun has successfully gotten over his mother's death, and even though he loves Skyrus and he will always think of her, the fact that he has a Bakugan that doesn't really resemble Skyrus at all going forward, at least it has some weight to it. Before the first episode, Shun was at least implied to be the #1 battler in the entire world. It's pointed out by Dan, after all, that he's really let himself go, because he went all the way from maybe #1 all the way down to #6. However, he later got into a tag team match with rank 5 Kaba and rank 10 Billy, alongside his friend Julie, and he was able to easily prove that he still got it. And to pour more salt on the wound, he had a rematch with Kaba later on, and he didn't even try this time. It was an absolute curve stomp. As I stated much earlier, Shun alongside Dan helped create the rules for the original game. However, in New Vestroia, the rules are quite different. And what is interesting about this is Shun's ability cards. After Shun acquires Ingram, he starts naming a lot of his ability cards off of himself. The Kazami style ability cards, if you will. For example, one of the cards is called, and I quote, Kazami style Ninja Tornado Slash. I honestly like the idea of him making his own ability cards, because it does tie back into the origin of how him, Dan, and a couple of the other kids came together to create this game. A lot of Shun's playstyle in the original game was he was just using some normal everyday ability cards, but the strategies he would use to try to, such as using a wind ability card to blow someone else's Bakugan onto a different gate card, was something that no one else would really do besides him. And since the rules got dumbed down after the first season, it's nice that they still found a way to let him stand out. And that's everything for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this one. Him and Dan are probably the ones that I am the most nervous working on, to be honest, just because how popular and prominent those characters are to the story. As I said in some other videos, the top 10 characters video is, well, it's coming along, but I want to try to go all out in terms of how I present it. You guys probably aren't able to notice, but I've been using some different editing equipment for these videos since I've started, so I really want to go all out with that one, which is why I'm putting a lot more care into it. But enough about that for now. Please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Shun. He is easily one of my favorite characters, especially after I rewatched the entire first season. And without further ado, I'll catch you next time.